Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So my name's Katie and today we're going to be doing my March TBR. So this TBR is slightly late, it's like a week late, but I have a reason. So I was planning on filming last weekend, but then I got approved for The House of Always on NetGalley, which is the newest book in the where are they? The Chorus of Dragons series. And obviously I was very excited, so I had to drop everything that weekend and just read that book. And I read it in like less than 48 hours. It was really good, but you'll hear about that in my wrap up. So I'm filming this weekend instead. So it's a slightly late TBR, but still. Also, in other exciting news, we have a newest member of the Brightness family. This is Panini, as so named. Yeah, and thank you to one of my Twitter followers for coming up with the name. But yeah, it is very cute and I love her. She's so cute. Yes, and obviously I have to show my pride. So yeah, she will be living on my bookshelves, and yeah, we'll put it here for now. Oh dear. She's already taken a cliff dive. Okay, yes, there we go. So yes, so let's just get started with my TBR for March. So let's start with the book club books that I have. So for our Chaos Rising book club, which I co-host with Rue, Tammy and Sophia, we are reading The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin, which I'm a big fan of N.K. Jemisin, and I have read these books before, and it's probably actually my favourite series by her. So I'm obviously very excited to read it with the others because I don't think anyone else has read it before. So yeah, that's gonna be really exciting. It's basically following the first one, Yen, who goes to this kind of, it's almost like a palace floating in the sky type thing, and there she's going because her mother's just died under kind of mysterious circumstances, so she's going almost back to her family with like her grandfather and stuff who sort of run the palace. And in the palace there's lots of like political conspiracy, and Yen's kind of the heir, but there's also a few other people who are like in competition with her to be the heir. You have all these like, they're not quite demigods, and they're not, I think they're like children of the gods around the palace, causing like mischief and chaos. And then you have this like broody character called Nahadon, who's like one of the kind of godlike characters, who's very like Darkling-esque. But yeah, so it's really good. I really enjoyed that series. I always love when like gods get involved in human business. That's like one of my favourite tropes in fantasy. So I'm really excited to read that with everyone. And then for my Sorcery and Stardust pick, which is the book club that I run, we have Look in the Shadows by Lynn Fueling. It's so dusty. I haven't even had it long. Yeah, so this one, my co-host for this month is Blake from Blake the Book Eater, who is amazing, and you should check out his channel, so I'll leave him linked in the description. And this one I believe is male, and it's quite old. I think it was written in the 90s, which is cool. So I don't really know what it's about, but I'll read you the description. So it's when young Alex of Kerry is taken prisoner for a crime he didn't commit, he is certain that his life is at an end. But one thing he never expected was his cellmate, spy, rogue, thief and noble, Sergil, I think it's Sergil, is many things and none of them predictable. When he offers to take on Alec as his apprentice, things may never be the same for either of them. Soon Alec is travelling roads he never knew existed toward a war he never suspected was brewing. Before long he and Sergil are embroiled in a sinister plot that runs deeper than either of them can imagine, and may cost them more than their lives if they fail. But fortune is as unpredictable as Alec's new mentor, and this time there might just be Luck in the Shadows. Oh, it sounds really fun. Yeah, so I feel like this is going to have like major classic fantasy vibes, like just from the cover. And also, it's a Mouse Bucket paperback, so it's so cute. It's like little mini. I was going to compare it to this other book, but the next one is a giant because it's like an arc, so that would be a real comparison. But yeah, it's a little small. So yeah, read and join along with us. That'd be great. The live show will probably be towards the start of April. So yeah, and if you missed our Gideon the 9th live show last night, you can watch it now on my channel. It should be up, so yeah, enjoy that. That was our pick in February. Okay, then next for in terms of arcs, so I've nearly got my arcs down to 100%, no, up to 100%, I don't know, like down to a few. So the one I have left is Legacy of Steel, which is the sequel to Legacy of Ash. by Matthew Ward, I think. And I haven't read Legacy of Ash yet, but I did start it, so I'm like about 4% in. But yeah, so I'm planning on hopefully reading both of these this month. They're the kind of big chunky fantasies, because I think they're quite long. But actually, from what I've read of Legacy of Ash so far, I'm really enjoying it. There's something about the writing style which I really like. And at the start, it's basically like the mum with her 2 kids, and then in the prologue she like dies, and then now her kids have to, like, I'm guessing, live on her legacy, which is kind of a cool setup. So yeah, I think I'm gonna enjoy it. Like, I don't really know more about the plot than that, but yeah. So I definitely want to get to Legacy of Ash, and ideally get through Legacy of Steel, because I think the release date is March the 18th, so I'm not sure I'll have it reviewed by then, but hopefully soon after, because I feel like ARCs, they let you have a bit of time after to review and it doesn't affect your percentage, so that's good, because they are very long. So yeah, also I'm quite guilty of, like, when I get new ARCs, I want to read them, especially if they're like shorter, and then I put off the long ones, and then suddenly it's like the release date and it's like, oh no. But yeah, so I'm excited for that one. And in other exciting ARC news, I got sent Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne, which was from Orbit, so thank you very much to Orbit for this stunning physical copy. Like, look at the dragon. Yeah, it's so cool. Yeah, and this is a like big book, so like compared to looking at shadows, oh, the size difference. But yeah, so John Gwynne is the author of the Faithful and the Fallen series, which I have down here. And I really like that series. Well, I've only read the first 3, but I really like what I've read of it. And I'm really excited for this new one, because I think this is like Norse inspired fantasy. So yeah, I believe we're following 3 characters. I don't really know anything about the plot line, to be honest. I don't know if magic is like reawakening or... Okay, here we go. So we're basically following like 3 characters, and I think they're all warriors, and they're sort of, the gods maybe coming back to life, or like the war's restarting or something, and we're kind of following them on their journeys. So I'm sure I'll be able to give you a better description once I've read it. But yeah, I'm so excited to have this, and I really want to get to it quite soon. Because I mean, there's like a lot of words on the page, but it's less than 500 pages, which for like a big adult fantasy, that's not too bad to get through. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. And then a middle grade that I would like to get to is Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston, and I've heard such good things about this. And look at the cover, it's so pretty. And I don't know if they really come out on camera, but like the edges are like glittery, and they're my like favourite sprayed edges ever. I just stare at them all the time. I don't know if there's an exciting like... I'm very easily pleased by shiny things. Yeah, so this one, I don't really know what this one's about. I'm guessing it follows Amari, obviously, and I don't know if there's some kind of secret society element to it or something. I feel like I've heard it compared to Percy Jackson, but that might be wrong. Or maybe Nevermore. No, the quote's from Nevermore. I feel like every middle grade gets compared to Percy Jackson, so I really can't say anything about that. Thing on the back is, I didn't even know that real magic existed until yesterday. If having magic makes me a magician, and magicians are enemies of the supernatural world, what's going to happen to me now? So obviously, yeah, that kind of sounds a bit similar to other middle grade concepts, but I've heard nothing but good things about this. Like, literally everyone I've seen has given it 5 stars. So I definitely feel like I'm really gonna love this one. So yeah, and I need some middle grade in my life. Like, oh, I've been missing it. I also really need to read the final book in the Trials of Apollo series, which I still haven't gotten to. But I love that series, but yeah, I'll get to it one day. Okay, and then next we have The Evercool Kingdom by Rinchipekeo, which is another one I really been wanting to get to, because Never Tilting World is like one of my favourite YA fantasy books. And this one follows, there's like 2 halves of the world, and there's like the hot half and the cold half, and basically there's 2 princesses on either side, and in the first book they're kind of both going on these separate journeys to like the middle rift to find out sort of what's happened to the world and why it's stopped turning. So yeah, and the relationship dynamics is so good. Like the cold half princess, and she has kind of like a bodyguard, and it's a sapphic relationship as well. And then like the hot half princess, she comes across this like basically a himbe in the desert with this like gun, and then, well, it's not really a gun, it's like a howler, so I don't know what that translates to in our world, but yeah, and then they're travelling together, and it's so cute. And yeah, And then, so the ending of the last one, and then now this is what's happening in this one. I don't really know what's going to happen in this one, but I'm excited to see. And I feel like this is just the kind of perfect like YA fantasy. It just hits all the marks that make it like satisfying and a really fun genre to read. So yeah, the next some big releases that I really want to get to, because I am admittedly trash. I really want to get to A Court of Silver Flames, which is the newest Sarah J Maas book, and this one is following Nesta and Cassian from the original like series, who they're side characters in the original series, the Court of Thorns and Roses series. Yeah, I've heard this book has a lot of smut, which, I don't know, maybe it'll get too much for me, but like, I enjoyed Kingdom of Flesh and Fire, which is basically non-stop smut. So yeah, I'm hopefully going to enjoy this one. Nesta was not my favourite character. I didn't really like it that much when I read A Court of Thorns and Roses, but what I've heard about A Court of Silver Flames, then I feel like I'm really gonna like Nesta, and I think we're gonna see a lot more of her kind of psyche and her like healing journey. And I feel like Sarah J Maas is actually really good at writing kind of healing, like characters healing from say grief or trauma. And also I feel like I always like her relationships. I know they're a bit like basic or potentially toxic, but I like them. I'm really excited for that one. And also Chain of Iron, which is the second book in the Last Hour series by Cassandra Clare. So yeah, Cassandra Clare is another slightly problematic author, but I'm going to keep coming back because I really love Chain of Gold. It's probably one of my favourite of her books, and it's set in kind of Edwardian London, and we're following the descendants of the characters from the Mortal Instruments series, not the Mortal Instruments, the Infernal Devices series. And yeah, it's just the friendship group and like the character group is probably my favourite like character group out of all her series. Just the characters are just so iconic and I love them, and oh yes, I'm really excited to read Chain of Iron and find out what happens to them next. And yeah, I'm kind of a bit sad because I really wanted the Waterstones like exclusive edition to match my Chain of Gold, but they sold out. Like, I went to check in like December and they must have already like have sold it because I completely missed the announcement, and then I kept checking but it never came back in stock. So now I don't know what to do, because like if I buy it from some like eBay or something, it's gonna cost way too much. Like I can't be spending more than £20 on a book, and then but then like yeah, so I don't know whether to email Waterstones and see if they've had any returns or something, or just wait and see. I might just snap and buy it on my Kindle and then I can see if I ever get the collector's edition. But yeah, so that's my sub story over for the day. Okay, yeah, and then in terms of audiobooks, I'm currently listening to Ashes of the Sun by Janglo Wexler. So this is, I'm only about 5 hours into the audiobook, but I'm really enjoying it so far. I didn't really know what it was about at all going in. I think I knew vaguely that I had a sapphic relationship, which so far is so cute. Oh my gosh, oh, it's giving me like Sanchia and Berenice vibes from Foundryside, who I love. So basically we're following these two siblings called Gaia and Maya, which points to the parents for the kind of rhyming names. But basically when Maya is about 5 and Gaia is maybe 8, Maya gets taken away by this kind of the magical like society, who are quite like, they're the like enforcers of this evil, well I don't know if it's actually evil, but like they're seen to be the bad guys, like kingdom. And so Matt gets taken away and is brought up with the like magical people, and then Gaia, he's like attacks the guy who takes Maya away, and then just sort of, that's kind of the prologue. And then we're following them many years later, I think it's like 12 years later, and Maya is in this like society of sort of magical people, and she's going to this village to investigate some smuggling, and then Gaia is like, I think he's working for these underground rebels. And he like meets this, so the point I'm at, he's just met this other character called Kit, and she is like this kind of suave like criminal who like, yeah, and their dynamic as well is so good. So I feel like I'm really gonna enjoy this book. Yeah, so that's kind of on my TBR / I've just started it, but yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. Yeah, and then a couple more that I potentially want to read. So I started Dead Astronauts by Jeff Vandermeer because it's on Scribd, and so I know I went back to my toxic relationship with Scribd. But Rue sent me a link for a 60-day free trial, so how could I say no? Well, to be fair, I asked her for the link, but still. That's by Jeff Vandermeer. I believe it's a sequel to Born, which I really like Born. It's so cute. Born, the character, oh, but I don't think it really has any connection. Maybe it's like set in the same world. There's that one, and also Escaping Exodus by Nikki Drayden, which I believe is sapphic, or at least is a bisexual main character. And yeah, I know it's sci-fi and the cover's really cool, so I also want to read that. I don't really know what that one's about also, but that's another like scribbed one. So yeah, they're both some I'm excited to get to. I think that is everything on my TBR. It's quite ambitious as usual, and I doubt I'll get to everything. I actually did okay with my TBR for February. Like, I thought I wouldn't, but I was surprised by how much I read. Like, because I feel like I'm not reading anything, because like during the day I'm like studying, and then in the evenings I like read an hour or two. But like normally if I wasn't like working hard in the day, I could read for like 3 or 4 hours in the evening, because my brain's tired. I like read for an hour and then I just go on TikTok, which I just downloaded, which was a terrible idea, but I found Frog Talk, which I was actually surprised by how many books I managed to read, so I was impressed with myself. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this TBR. Let me know in the comments what book you're most excited to read in March, and yes, I would love to know. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I hope you're all having a great day, and I will see you next time.